Welcome to the latest episode of Honest Reviews. Today, we're going to be looking at the 4x100 Roka frame. A little bit of background on Roka. They are based in London. I think they launched last year. I think that's when they did their first run of frames. I think they're on their third run of frames now, and they offer 4-wheel and 5-wheel options. I reached out to them and just said I was interested in the product, and the owner generously sent me a set of the 4x100 and a set of the 5x80. I wanted to try these first just because it would be, closer to skating flat, and I thought less strange than skating the 5-wheel option first. So yeah, basically just decided to put these through their paces. I've been skating these for, I want to say a few months now, maybe longer, can't remember. Basically, I set them up with the undercover endless wheels, the 100mm ones. These were initially pointy, and now I've worn them all the way down to round and back to being coned again. So I think it's safe to say I've been skating these an absolute shitload. I've always been really into wizard skating. I like the fact that, unlike aggressive or street skating, it's not grind focused at all. It's mainly about flatland and about using obstacles in different and interesting ways, and just using the edges of the wheels and pivoting and stuff like that, which, yeah, I just found to be a kind of refreshing difference from aggressive skating. The thing that put me off it, though, was the price point. It always just felt quite elitist because, wizard frames are obviously made in small batches and they're very expensive. I think they're like £350 just for the frame alone. Wizard skating setup on their shop is, I think for a full setup, it's like $1,200. And that's a lot of money. And it basically prices some people out of being able to enjoy the activity, because if you can't afford the products, then you maybe can't take part. With brands like this, with like Roka and NN and Endless and Rockin', it basically offers a cheaper alternative for people to get into the sport and just test it out and see if they like it. So that's what really appealed to me about this, because I figured the people that are going to buy wizard skating products are always going to go for those kind of luxury items and going to get it anyway. But people who, try gateway brands like these, or like lower budget brands, can perhaps enjoy it, find out they like it, and then be more comfortable about making that kind of sizable investment in wizard skating products. My first impressions of these, when I got them out of the box, I was really surprised with the packaging. Just to show you, it comes in this cool box here, which if you open it up and have a look, the packaging is, the frames just sit in nicely, and I just think, yeah, you don't normally get frames sent to you in a cardboard box. They're normally just wrapped in plastic or undercover, come in a bag and stuff like that. But it's quite cool for an independent brand to have that just, nice, elegant touch. When I first started skating them, my first impressions were, holy shit, these are fast. I have never skated 100mm frames before. I think the highest I've went before is 90, so I was instantly aware of the height difference. But yeah, just loved the speed that you got from them. It was, great compared to aggressive. I normally skate 58mm, and stair rides in these are an absolute dream. We went to a spot recently and I just couldn't stop stair riding the set outside the front of it. It was just really enjoyable, felt really smooth. The 100mm on it just, carried you down the steps so easily. And it had me basically just seeking out spots to stair ride all along the city. Another thing is, this proves that, you don't need the most expensive setup in the world to get into wizard skating. We've seen it with people like J.K. Park, who uses a similar setup to this. For a while, he was skating the Them 909 with the Wizard NR100s, which these are basically the equivalent of. More recently, Michael Wietzeman, he's been skating the what's he skating? I think he's skating the Wizard PR80s, so the 5-wheel option, but he's doing it in sways, USD sways. So it proves that, you know, you don't have to buy a carbon boot, you don't have to buy a Seba, you can just buy something that's comfortable and that you think is supportive and get started. Another thing I noticed is that as much as I've enjoyed wizard skating in recent years and watching the videos, in fact, this year I'd say I've probably watched more wizard skating videos than I have aggressive. I think I underestimated how difficult it was. I very quickly learned and painfully learned that being overconfident and just launching yourself at the moves is going to get you basically a sore arse or swell bow or all of the above. But it quickly becomes obvious how addictive it is. It's just really interesting learning how the skates work, and it's totally different to aggressive. You know, I've been skating for 25 years, and it quickly exposes the weaknesses in your skating because you're just, you know, you're realizing like what turns you're good at, what turns, you know, you feel less confident with, just learning the kind of various like swivels and stuff like that, learning how to do things like lions and gazelles and stuff like that. I'm starting to kind of understand gazelles, but it's still looking a little bit rusty, as you can see here. But yeah, just I've become obsessed with looking for places to do it, just like flat pieces of ground or open pieces of land or nice long stairs or, you know, like concrete blocks to hop to and from, stuff like that. One of the criticisms of brands like these and, you know, the others that I've mentioned is it's basically a poor man's wizard frame. And yeah, that's probably true. It is a poor man's wizard frame. It's significantly cheaper. Just because it's cheaper doesn't mean that it won't do the job and that it's not fit for purpose. There's plenty of people using frames like these and endless frames and NN frames. If you look at people like Fakey Magic on YouTube and stuff like that, and they can do, you know, incredibly intricate, complicated moves on these, like, you know, Fakey 360 swivels on one foot, you know, gazelles, like all the various gazelles, all the various lions, stuff like that. So it's not like it's not, you know, a good enough tool. It does what it's required to do. If this is a poor man's wizard frame, it is an exceptional poor man's wizard frame. I've been skating these for, yeah, I think a couple of months now, maybe even longer. I'm not entirely sure. And I absolutely love them. And as a result, I've actually managed to get a hold of a pair of Wizard NR100s just to find out, you know, what the difference is. From looking at the two frames side by side, they do appear to be made of different materials. I haven't actually sat them on top of each other to see what the dimensions are like, but yeah, I'll do that in a future video. But as an entry point into wizard skating, or something that, you know, you just choose to use instead of wizard frames, I think this is a more than convincing alternative. If you buy a set of these from their shop or from local skates, it's £150 to buy this. So that means that, you know, if you get wheels and bearings, you could potentially set up your own wizard frame setup for under £300, just shoving it on your existing aggressive boot. If you buy wizard frames alone, you're talking £350. That's just for the frames. That's not including wheels and bearings. So that means, you know, getting a full setup of this is cheaper than just getting the frames alone. I'm not saying you shouldn't get wizard frames. I really want to try the PR80s, the 5-wheel version. You know, they look really appealing. But, you know, I don't think we should discount alternative brands. And I think you need, you know, more than one brand for a subgenre of skating to be, you know, alive and to show the possibilities of it. You can't just have one brand monopolizing the market. You know, imagine if in aggressive you only had USD skates. That would be pretty plain and it wouldn't cater to everyone. You know, you've got these other frames that are offering different rocker and alternatives. They're offering different wheel sizes. They're even offering different colors. You know, something for everyone. Having alternatives is not a bad thing. And it proves that Leon Basson's wizard concept works. And, it's not just a fad or like a little like short-lived craze, that there's going to be some momentum behind it. And you're seeing that this year. More and more people are coming from an aggressive background and getting into this. And I think that it would drive people to get into it instead of things like, recreational skating, because this allows you to be creative. It allows you to explore different avenues of skating, but doesn't have as much risk as something like aggressive, where, you're more likely to break bones or injure yourself, quite badly. I'm a living testament to this. I've been in hospital from aggressive more times than I can imagine. In summary, I'm a big fan of these frames. Do I think they're better than Wizard frames? I don't know. I've spoke to people who've skated both. They've said that there is a kind of notable difference in terms of weight and things like that, but it doesn't mean that this frame's a bad frame. It just means it's different. But yeah, I'll compare them side by side and let you know. All I know is I really enjoyed them. I'd recommend, if you've been thinking about wizard skating, but you're put off by the price of getting, wizard skating frames, that these are a great alternative. Like I said, only £150 for, a frame setup. You can add your own wheels and bearings for less than £100 extra if you're thrifty enough. I bought this boot secondhand for 100. Got the endless wheels. I think they were like another 100, and then just added bearings. And yeah, you're good to go. Also, learning things like gazelles and lines and stuff like that is extremely satisfying, and just figuring out little moves like crossing over your legs backwards and forwards different ways, carving, just turning clockwise and anti-clockwise in circles, and just seeing how you can really lean into it is a lot of fun. And you quickly lose hours of your life just fixating on it and getting lost in the moment. I would recommend checking them out. Like I said, I did get sent these for free, so it's not like I bought them. But yeah, I'm not sponsored or advertising them or anything. If you're interested in wizard skating, give them a shot.